Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. And today we're going to be talking about how big tech wants your face. It's kind of funny that everybody and their brother now wants you to do a selfie, do an AI selfie, store a selfie on their servers. And it's just very interesting that all of these types of facial recognition systems are out, and now everybody wants to use this. So, of course, we'll kind of start with a little discussion here from Cyber News. And this was an article that first came out last year about this time and updated a couple months ago. And with that, how ID verification is killing online privacy. Of course, we all know that that is the case. And this covers the whole scope of ID verification. Of course, there's several different ways you can verify. Now, I guess so ID verification, yeah, that kind of requires the selfies. That kind of requires the uploading of government IDs. Now, age verification is a little bit different from that. Of course, this morning we did Google's rolling out the age attestation API to all of Android. So that's exciting. If you didn't catch that video, you should have a look at that. But looking at what's going on here with everybody doing selfies, we kind of start with this ID verification. Of course, I was buying something online or looking at something online, and it was Vistaprint. We were buying the postcards. We go through the camp. At the end of camp, we do put together postcards and mail a postcard of the picture to everybody. So I was up there in Vistaprint, and there's like, hey, there's a discount for military ID, and it requires you to go through ID.me to verify who you are. It's like, even if I was military, I ain't doing that to give you my information. So I'll pay a few extra bucks. It's like these Shoppers Club cards. You can get coupons. I don't want to be annoyed. You know what I mean? I don't want to be annoyed. And so I will gladly pay more. I had an issue with the van. Of course, you're traveling around the country, and I'd stop by, and, whenever the thing says, hey, you need an oil change, you better go get your oil changed, right? And so, I'd stop by a lot of instant oil places, and, the one of them grabbed information from the VIN and starts mailing me coupons, and I got really mad at him. I'm like, hey, you need to stop doing this. And then they're like, well, there's an opt-out. And it was like literally calling some person that was just like some contractor working out of her house. And it was weird. It was really weird. But, back to the article here. Real consequences of age verification are much more severe. The open web is slowly changing for the worse, drastically undermines user privacy and gives local government more opportunities to easily impose censorship. Of course, we all know that, but what I wanted to focus on is part of these age, not age, but the is this on age or is this ID? This is ID verification down there in the article. It brought about, they're talking about the UK Act, which was an age verification system. Of course, part of this is, one of the ways they can always do this, you can verify your age with a selfie or a credit card or uploading a government ID or, I don't know, there's probably better ways to do that. But effectively here, where this is coming out, one of the major ways most of these applications want to highly recommend and highly use is your facial scan. And so it's kind of crazy. And of course, because of this, a bunch of companies jumped up. I just looked up for age verification companies, and I just grabbed the top two on whatever my search engine was. I think it was DuckDuckGo at this point in time. So instant secure age verification, totally safe, legit. If a website tells me totally safe, I immediately think this is not safe. It's totally safe, yo. Eesh. Verify your age for free with one of our quick and easy verification methods. Ooh, of course, these are those new companies that are jumping up. And so some company can tie into one of these and filter you through their individual provider of choice. Then you just create the account on this company here and you verify. So here's your selfie. Here's a selfie plus ID. Here's a credit card. And the digital ID. That's wonderful. Selfie plus ID. Age verification combines a live selfie and a government-issued ID to verify the exact user's age with a high level of assurance. You need a smartphone or webcam. Ensure the camera is Access is enabled on your device, a government-issued photo ID, and ensure the ID belongs to you and has not expired. Wonderful. Of course, the hacker always makes sure that the ID is definitely theirs. They stole about 5,000. They got sift through the files to find theirs. So of course, how does it work? You go ahead and do this. You accept the terms and conditions. I didn't even look at the terms and conditions. Should we look at the terms and conditions? Maybe the privacy policy. So let's see what their privacy policy looks like. Looks like it was just updated back in May. We, us, use, age, go, refers to the age, who's responsible for your data. They act as primarily as a data processor on behalf of the relevant business customer, which means they are just a third party who determines the purpose and legal basis. Though through its third parties, sub-processors, processes your personal data. This third party doesn't even process the IDs. The third party brings on another third party. And guess what? It's always those third party breaches. Even the government tells us the third party breaches are the worst. Personal data in these cases solely under the business customer's instructions and does not retain it. Yeah, our third party definitely does not retain any information. So that's kind of crazy. So now they can all play the Spider-Man game if something leaks out. Everyone starts pointing the finger at everyone else, Applicability of this privacy policy. Let's see. What do they collect and how have we obtained it? Let's see. So most of the stuff is things that you, like a fool, give it to them. There you go. End users are not advised to share sensitive or unnecessary personal information when using the AI assistant. I'm sorry, my age and my ID are unnecessary information. It's like, excuse me, you're not coming to my house, are you? Okay, you don't need to know where I live. There you go, right? So how do we process your personal data? Of course, contractual necessary. Oh, look at that. Legal obligation and public interest. That's that catch-all clause for we'll hand you over to the feds if we think that that beard and turban looks a little suspicious. Let's see. Consent. Ooh, okay. Legitimate interest. Reliance legitimate interest to ensure proper functioning and prevent misuse. There you go. So, there's third-party services, and there's all of these different third parties they're using. So this is kind of terrible. Of course, here's another one. Check age with a quick selfie. Yeah, private ID. Private ID. Just scan your face right here. You'll be very private after it. Should we look at their privacy policy? Are they also using? Who is this illustrious third party everyone is using, right? Let's see. Where's their privacy policy? Let's see if they're doing it themselves or if they're doing a third party. It's probably that Palantir company. What was that one that was being used by Discord until somebody's like, hey, you know what they're really doing behind the scenes? Let's see. Personal data, of course, all that stuff, information we collect automatically, device information, usage data, log information, location data, interactions or communications, cooking and tracking, support interactions, social media features, information we collect from other sources. This is always fun, right? So you create an account to verify that you're of a proper age. And yeah, they're going to go to public sources. They're going to go to websites, social media platforms, and public records and industries and bolster their information about you. Was that necessary? No. Business partners and affiliates. They're just, hey, who else knows this guy's name? Let's share all of our data. Let's play a riveting game of Palantir. All right, service providers and then professional networks. How do we use your personal data? There you go. Obviously, hopefully they're just using it to verify your age, right? I mean, all I did is I signed up with you to verify my age. You shouldn't have anything to do. The only thing I wanted is to verify my age. No. There's minors and children, not intended to be attractive for children under 18. Okay. Links to third parties, how we secure data. I'm not seeing anything about them actually using a third party to verify it. Who knows? Maybe the other company's using them. I don't know. But what prompted this, looking into this, is we have two separate big tech companies that are now this week starting to introduce selfies for various things. Your first is, of course, Google. Google wants to store a selfie of your face. Isn't that glorious? Of course, every time you log in, if you haven't given them a phone number or a address or something like that, like add your home address. What's your phone number? Like, dude, you don't need this information, you know? So they started rolling out a new way to recover access to your account if you've lost your phone or forgotten your password. And right there, I'm going to call BS on this. And here's why. You go in to do this, and this is not for if you've lost your password. I have never lost the password for one of my accounts. I have never lost a password. But I'll go to log in and they're like, you need to answer these security questions. Dude, why? I didn't lose my password. So this is not about losing your password. This is about them going, you think we can prompt them to enter their selfie now? You know, this is about them using multiple other methods. This is not about losing your password. So after recording a short video of your face during setup, you can later submit another video during account recovery to prove you are who you claim to be and regain access. So right now, this is all optional, but how long before Google's like, hey, we just found it so easy and useful to use. It's so much better. We're just going to require this. How long before that's the case? So security and privacy security and privacy advocates are also raising questions about deep fakes, and it creates another repository of sensitive biometric data that could be a target if compromised, or if you just have a rogue employee within your company. So there you have it. You have a little bit of that. So the idea is open your Google account to your security sign in and choose selfie video. There you go. That's how you do it. And then, you know, Lord, what is that logo? That thing is terrifying. It looks like, yeah, it doesn't have like, it kind of looks partially like olive oil is maybe being held hostage by Bruno. I mean, is that what we got? Or is that Bruto? What's that big dude's name on Popeye? I don't know. Help me, Popeye! You know, I don't know what the logo is there. Anyway, the feature is marketed as a fallback method, effectively turning your face into a spare key to your digital life. So there are several objections. Obviously, first is security. Facial recognitions can exceed 99% accuracy in very controlled, high-quality conditions. However, when you put them in real-world circumstances, they tend to produce a lot of false positives and a lot of false negatives. There's a lot of serious fundamental problems with this. And of course, Google wants to collect this data for your AI. And so that's part of it. In fact, if you do this, you are consenting to AI unless you explicitly opt out. So it's once you turn this on, you're agreeing to let them use your face for their AI training. So, you know, you pick a version of you with a different nose could show up in some ad somewhere, you know, auto-generated ad, of course, because you don't want to pay the marketers either. You got to have the AI create the ad out of faces that people have uploaded so you can lay off the marketing team and still make all of the money. I mean, this is the way to do it, you know. Any system used by Google has to allow for normal changes in appearances, including age, weight changes, lighting, camera angle, glasses, or facial hair. So there's a lot of different factors. I mean, I'm going to shave some of this down a little bit here, and I'll look a little bit different. Can their selfie determine that? Well, I won't be able to tell you because I ain't using this crap. So in 2025 paper on AI and identity security found sophisticated deepfake attacks achieve success rates above 78% against commercial facial verification systems and control tests. So even as recently as last year, the successful attack rate on these is excessively high. So, you know, this is account insecurity, not account security, account insecurity. So as far as privacy, of course, mere existence of the data is a long-term privacy risk. That is true. Even though today they say it's not shared, but tomorrow it could be used for fraud detection or used to improve verification systems or disclosed to responsible lawful requests. So, you know, the police show up like, hey, we want to know the selfies of this guy, you know. So this implies that unless you opt out, your data may be used to improve Google's biometric verification systems. So how wonderful indeed. So instead of doing that, you should use You should certainly use a password manager and some form of 2FA or MFA that preferably does not require your phone number or text messages. I hear the authenticator apps are good. I use YubiKeys and other similar security keys. You can do pass keys inside of KeePass XC if you want. There's a lot of things that you can do that do not require you uploading a high fidelity photo of your face directly to a company that tends to use private data to profit off of. So that's frightening. Now, if you didn't trust Google with that information, will you trust Meta? Meta launches a free Facebook verification badge for personal accounts. So you can go into Meta and you can do the same selfie thing that Google's asking you to do. Only this one here will get a tag on your account that says, yep, this account is done by a human. How do we know? Because some human went through and did our thing. How do we know that wasn't an AI that did that? Oh, we don't? So this isn't probably about figuring out who's human and who's not. This is probably about collecting people's faces, which of course ties to all of this personal information that Facebook already has. This is the next line of the selfish ledger. We gotta attach a name to that face. Of course, then Facebook's used by all these other companies, so they can utilize this information to verify exactly who you are as you walk through whatever grocery store. You're standing in front of the aisle there at the grocery store, staring through the cart, looking at all of the potential ice cream, and you're going, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And then it's like, Tom over there is looking at the ice cream and his eyes keep bouncing between the chocolate and the vanilla. What can we possibly do to get him to stop thinking and just pick one because we just want the revenue and we don't care about what the personal experiences are? Who knows? Maybe even better. Hey, let's just force his brain waves to come in and just buy one. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just force it to happen. But that's what Facebook's trying to do here. They just want to use this to prove you're a human because you did this thing that AI is perfectly capable of doing. So I don't know. Company says the feature is intended to help users distinguish accounts by humans from those controlled by scammers and impersonators using generative AI. So why are they doing this? Well, their excuse is that all of these AI bots are on here. Well, why don't you just get rid of them, Facebook? I mean, really. Of course, how does it work? You got to go in there. You got to give them all this. You got to do this. Perfect. Your selfie is all done. That's right. I don't know. I just feel really, really gooey about letting some company be like, come on, man, we want to capture your face. No, Dementor, go away. Users want a stronger protection against AI-powered scams and impersonations. Achieving that increasingly requires Facebook to collect more personal information to prove who is behind an account. Here's a thought. Just get off Facebook. I mean, my chance of getting scammed on Facebook is effectively zero because I don't use that crap. Okay. Oh, Lordy. Meta frames the feature as a way to improve trust and reduce fraud. Its long-term acceptance may depend not only on how the accuracy it is verifies users, but also on how transparently Facebook handles selfie videos and related identity data collected during the process. You mean you trust the guys at One Hacker Way to not abuse that data? What is wrong with you? So yeah, apparently every company in the history of the world right now wants to have your facial ID scans. So I don't know. I think you should resist a little bit. Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below.